All right, we'll call this meeting of Friday, April 4th of the San Joaquin Regional Rail Commission to order. Then we'll stand and run to the red.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Thank you. Commissioners Marchand, Solomon,
Present.
Ariola,
Present.
Dean, Gazi, Morowitz,
Here.
Vice Chair Zuber,
Here.
Chair Craig Hensley. Thank you. We have four. Oh, and ex officio members, Stancock.
Suze Wallen, Mayor of Modesto here.
Thank you. SJ Cobb. SJRRC.
Good morning, Ken Baxter here.
Caltrans.
It's Tom Dumas here.
Thank you.
All right, next item on the agenda is public comment. Have anybody online for public comment?
Seeing none online, but we do have Ryan Niblock here for SJ Cobb on behalf of Diane.
Okay. Have anybody here for public comment? All right. Next item is the consent calendar. Anybody on the board have any items you want to go over, discuss, or separate action? All right, do we have any public comment on the consent calendar?
Seeing none online, we did want to know we have a purple sheet available for items 1.3.
Right. Right for the amount. Which changed. All right, do we have any public comment here? Comments or input from board members? Not, I'm going to entertain a motion on the consent calendar. Vote on consent. Second. Motion and a second. You just do a voice vote and make a roll call.
We have a special voting member.
All right, roll call please.
Commissioner Solon,
Aye.
Ariola,
Yes.
Morowitz,
Yes.
Vice Chair Zuber.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Carried. Item 5 is to adopt a resolution appointing 2 representatives of the San Joaquin Regional Rail Commission State Facility Development Committee. Yes, myself.
Hand it up to me. Good morning, commissioners. Next slide, please. Just a bit of history. As the program developed in the Valley, as part of the Valley Rail program, we saw the need for multi-county decision-making that could be quick and efficient and have access to the local constituents to be affected by the project. So this was prompted by the Rail Commission receiving $400 million in state funds through Senator Anthony Mella and Assemblymember Gray to expand the current ACE service down to Merced. And that was added to about 2 years later with an additional $500 million in state funding to expand ACE and San Joaquin up into the north to Sacramento and on to the Thomas. And the San Joaquin is the inner city rail service that the Rail Commission manages on behalf of the San Joaquin Joint Powers Authority Board. And I'll take this chance to say the San Joaquin Joint Powers Authority Board and the Rail Commission sort of work in a nested manner. The San Joaquin JPA, the authority, I'll just call it. The authority is a large policy body with 10 counties, and it basically runs from Kings County and Tulare up and through Sacramento, over into Contra Costa and Alameda counties, and then all of the counties in between. So it's a very large board, deals with some of the larger policy issues, and then they retain the Rail Commission to be their ground game. So to do day-to-day oversight, manage projects, et cetera. So there's a a very close relationship, a very distinct about who does what between these two boards, and they're both involved in the delivery of the Valley Rail program. So there's tight deadlines associated with that program, and so we needed a way to make sure we could do project-related actions in a quick manner, but touching all of the communities that we're gonna serve. Next slide. So it seems like a long time ago now, right, Jackie, but in late 2019, we went through the process of setting up an ordinance. And basically, the ordinance would vest some decision-making, so an ordinance by this board would vest some decision-making into a new committee that would have members from the multiple counties we're talking about, in addition to San Joaquin County. And so in the original setup, the members were put on a 4-year initial term. And we were trying to, not pilot it, but evaluate if it's exactly the structure we need, if we needed different people, if we needed more people, less people. So it was originally set up with a 4-year term so that we could have a checkpoint to evaluate that. And the chair and vice chair are required to be members of San Joaquin County, who at the moment have the most financial skin in the game. And then regular meetings were established, and we used most of them. We did not have a lot of cancellations. So it's 4-member group, 3 members are required for a quorum. By the time we got all the appointments in place, our first meeting was in May of 2021, so 4 years ago. Next slide. So the powers were very distinct related to the delivery of the station and facilities projects in Valley Rail. As you see there, it once it's cleared environmentally by the Rail Commission, you cannot dedicate that to designate that for someone else. But once a budget is established, the general scope is established, you can, through the ordinance, hand those decision-making powers off to the committee. And so basically, they look at all contracts, they look at all change orders, as long as they are within the scope and scale of and budget of what you have established. So they cannot exceed that. And we also put in place some appeal processes. If the actions of the committee are reported every month on your consent calendar. And if for any reason a member wanted to hear, a rail commission member wanted to hear more or appeal a decision to have it brought to the commission, you have the right to do so. We haven't had to invoke that in the 4 years, but it's there should an issue come up where you need to bring it back. Next slide. So these are the current members of the committee. As you see, 2 from our own rail commission, and then 1 each from Stanislaus County and 1 from Sacramento County. We did set up that the appointments ideally come from the body that is a member agency of the San Joaquin Authority, right? So if you're not San Joaquin County, if you're either Sacramento or Stanislaus and potentially later Merced, we ask that the member be, that the member agency who is on the authority make the appointment to this committee. And that way we know we've got Rail Commission and the authority goals and objectives embedded into this process. So that's the membership there. I have to report, I think it's worked very well. The committee has to dive into very detailed complexities. It would be hard for both boards to dive into that level of detail. Our member, Commissioner Vice Chair Zuber, could elaborate on that if he'd like, but we seem to have the right people that are able to reach out to the community, other elected officials in their jurisdiction, and keep the projects moving forward. Next slide. So with that, because the first 4-year terms for Liam Zuber and Vito Chiesa are coming to an end in May, we would recommend that both be reappointed to terms to serve on the committee. Next slide. There's no particular fiscal impact for this action. It is really an administrative governance effort, and be happy to take any questions.
Anybody have any questions? You have any public comment on the item?
Seeing none online.
Any public comment here? There are no questions. I would entertain a motion on the item. Motion to approve legal suit.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second for approval Roll call?
Thank you. This is for regular voting members only. Commissioners Ariola,
Yes.
Morwood,
Yes.
Vice Chair Zuber.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
Right. Item 6 is to adopt a resolution approving amendment 13 to the agreement with HDR Engineering for project development services for the Stockton Diamond Project. See an additional, 1.2 million, which increases the unoccupied amount to $19.8 million. Mr. Freeman, you're up.
Good morning, I'm Matt Freeman, the project manager for the Stockton Diamond Project. We're located approximately 1 mile south of here, at the junction of the two mainline BNSF and Union Pacific tracks. It is the most congested at-grade rail-to-rail crossing in the state of California, the Stockton Diamond. This project will grade separate that crossing by relocating the Union Pacific tracks approximately 180 feet to the east and creating a series of retaining and bridge structures that will allow the Union Pacific tracks to fly over the two mainline BNSF tracks. Unlocking this bottleneck and then paving the way for increased service for the Valley Rail program, but more importantly, unlocking the congestion both at this crossing and at the 14 grade crossings within a 1 mile radius of the Stockton Diamond. Back in 2021, the Rail Commission certified the final environmental impact report. And in July of 2022, we received the approval from California High-Speed Rail, who was the NEPA lead agency for this project. Shortly after the Rail Commission certified the environmental document, we started final design development in October of 2021. And we actually signed and sealed all of the plans for the final design in December of 2024. And we are in the process right now of obtaining the remaining approvals from the project stakeholders. There have been 12 amendments to HDR for the final design, the PSNE phase of the Stockton Diamond project. And as I mentioned, we are in the process of getting the remaining approvals for the final design. We are now entering into what we're calling the pre-construction phase. So as you see in this diagram below, as I mentioned, we had the project approval environmental documents back in 2021 and 2022. We've been working on the PSNE, and now we're moving into pre-construction, which really involves bid development and going through the bidding process, which ultimately leads us to where we want to be, which is construction award. And then further phases will be from the actual construction and systems testing and project closeout for a completed project. So what is pre-construction? So pre-construction involves multiple elements. So it's going to be developing the construction bid documents and working through the procurement for the award. And HDR, who is our engineer of record, is really going to be supporting basically these activities from a technical standpoint. But we also have, we're going to be transitioning for where we've been predominantly working on design and moving into construction. And so there are some activities that the designers have been doing that will need to transfer over to the construction manager, who will be the day-to-day boots on the ground managing the construction. And a couple of those items are, for instance, third-party coordination with BNSF, with UP, the city of Stockton, Caltrans, all of our stakeholders. They're going to be managing the construction, so they will be we'll be transitioning those responsibilities from HDR over to our construction manager. But as part of this also, through the coordination with our construction manager, as we develop the bid documents, we're going to do what's called a constructability review, because our CM is really our experts when it comes to construction. And so they're going to be reviewing all of our bid documents. And with that, we're going to be updating them, incorporating best practices. And in some cases, HDR may need to go back and revise certain documents to make sure that they align with how we want to deliver the project. In addition, we have what is termed right-of-way certification, which is really a funding requirement. And we need to have that completed prior to construction award. And this, if you're not familiar with right-of-way certification, it really involves 4 elements: utility agreements and construction and maintenance agreements. The construction maintenance agreements are with the host railroads, but it also involves Caltrans and the city of Stockton for certain elements. They require CPUC approvals, which we have at this point gotten most of those approved, but we do have one that remains. And right-of-way acquisitions and relocations, and those of you who have been a part of this project for the long term, you know that we have acquired all the parcels and we have relocated all the tenants, but that is an element of the right-of-way certification. And then construction permits, and this is really a byproduct of our final designs being approved, is we get our construction permits to be able to enter into construction. And then we have another item on here, which is other tasks required for the pre-construction phase, just knowing how this develops, especially as we work through the agreements and all these other items, that other things may occur. So HDR, who is our engineer of record, will be supporting all these activities, and this is to go through the end of this year.
Thank you, Matthew. So the amendment was handled in accordance with the Rail Commission's procurement manual and will be effective through June 30th, 2027, which is the contract duration. Unless we extend it in writing, and it would be brought before the board for approval if we did so. And then contracts and procurement staff have confirmed that the price of the amendment is fair and reasonable, and that the work is necessary as well. So there's two, so while it's PS&E and final design, there's also a right-of-way element. So there's two fiscal impact tables here. So for the PS&E phase, they are using STIP and SB 132 and Measure K funding. And we have a budget of about 20.9 million. If approved today, the remaining budget will be a little over 1.6 million. For the right-of-way phase, they're using STIP and SB 132 funding, which is state funding. The budget for that phase is about 4.2 million. And then if approved today, the remaining budget would be a little over $253,000. With that, staff recommends approval of this amendment, and we would be happy to answer any questions.
Anybody have any questions? Any public comment?
Seeing none online.
Any public comment here? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion on the item.
Move to the adopt the resolution amendments.
Second. We have a motion and a second, roll call please.
Thank you. This is for regular voting members only. Commissioners Ariola,
Yes.
Horowitz,
Yes.
Vice Chair Zuber.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
All right, thank you. Item 7 is to adopt a resolution approving an agreement with Mark Thomas and Company for planning services for the Del Paso Multimodal Transportation Network. An amount not to exceed $449,980. Hannibal, you're up.
Thank you, Vice Chair Zuber and members of the commission, Michael Hannibal with SJRRC, and excited to be here today. We've actually been going through this process for a little while, and after a bit of a protracted contracting and procurement process, we're happy to bring this hopeful approval to you today for this action. So a little bit of background before we get to that. In 2023, the Rail Commission had applied for and was successful in obtaining Caltrans Sustainable Transportation Planning Grant with SACOG for this Del Paso Multimodal Network and Land Use Compatibility Action Plan. And so the plan will help the Rail Commission work as the lead with its in-kind partners in the city of Sacramento, SJRRC, Caltrans, SACOG, and the authority to bring this plan to fruition. And this plan will help to integrate the future rail network and enhance the multimodal connectivity at the New Valley Rail Station that has been named the Old North Sacramento Station. And it'll integrate that station with the two existing light rail stations nearby, which are Globe Avenue and the Hardin Del Paso Station. The plan will also seek to envision a safe and vibrant area around the station that encourages walking and biking between these local and regional transit services. So here I wanted to emphasize and highlight where we are in this plan. So this is a map of Sacramento. Towards the bottom of the map, you can see this is downtown and midtown Sacramento. The purple star there is actually our Valley Rail Midtown Station. And then towards the middle top is the plan area for this plant. Highlighted in pink is our station area for the old Sacramento station. The kind of orange yellow area is the plan area itself. Zooming in here, the plan area is actually in the dotted outline, and of course the station area is that pink or magenta area as well. This area here along Del Paso Boulevard, that kind of diagonal blue line, it's actually part of the old city of North Sacramento, and that was their main commercial strip along Del Paso Boulevard. So we're really centrally located in this urban environment. The two yellow stars there represent new affordable housing projects that are either approved or even under construction. So we're really centrally located to benefit from, the new investments, the existing light rail, and then integrating with the neighborhood. And this oblique view really gives a sense of where we're landing here in North Sacramento. Again, along the bottom there, left to right, is Del Paso Boulevard and its commercial corridor with businesses and residences further beyond, both above and below here. And you can see the station is about a block or two from that commercial corridor. It's really nestled in a mixed environment between retail, commercial, heavy commercial, and even some industrial uses. So this plan will really seek to, study what's existing and what can be higher and best use for some of this surrounding neighborhood. The city of Sacramento has also done some of this work, so we'll be taking from that and then building upon actionable work that we'll need to implement ahead of this station coming online. For an example of the affordable housing projects, this is named for now 440 Arden. If you recall the map a few slides ago, it's the star furthest to the east. So this project will be in a very walkable distance to our station, and it brings about 150 or so new housing units directly within our station. So again, with the grant awarded, staff's now completed the procurement process to bring on a consultant to help coordinate and administer the various tasks associated with the action plan. And the work will start in earnest this spring, with initial work focusing again on the information gathering and community outreach. And staff will certainly provide the Rail Commission with further updates along the planning process for both community input and importance during this effort.
Thank you. So the staff report's pretty detailed, so I'm just gonna hit some of the highlights within the staff report. The Rail Commission issued an RFP in December of 24 for the services Michael just presented. And then on the due date, we received 2 statements from the following firms, which is Arup US out of Sacramento and Mark Thomas also out of Sacramento. Both firms were deemed responsive and were evaluated by Rail Commission staff and representatives from the city of Sacramento, SJRRC, and SACCOG. And we always like to thank the representatives that came and helped us out, because 1, it's their project, but 2, they took time out of their busy schedules to evaluate our process. So we do want to make sure we thank them for that. So based on the written statements, both firms were invited for interviews. After combining the scores, Mark Thomas is the top ranked, which is the most responsive and responsible proposer. The Rail Commission and Mark Thomas negotiated and agreed to the final scope, price, and terms. And the agreement will be effective upon execution by both parties and has a not to exceed amount of a little over $449,000. So due to the grant guidelines, this scope of work must be completed by May 31st, 2026. We did state that in the RFP. But this contract will allow up to 2 extensions. The funding will allow us to request extensions. So if we get that approved, then we would be able to also extend this contract to get that scope completed. So funding for this agreement comes directly from SACCOG through that Caltrans funding. And then staff recommends approval of this agreement with Mark Thomas, and we would be happy to answer any questions.
Anybody have any questions? Do you have any public comment online?
Seeing none online.
Public comment here.
Oh, wait, I'm so sorry. I see 1 hand raised, Xavier Cardenas. I will allow to talk.
Okay.
Hi, good morning. Thank you, Commissioners. My name is Xavier Cardenas, District Director for Councilmember Roger Dickinson, here this morning on behalf of Councilmember Roger Dickinson, and we just wanted to step in and pledge our full support for this project. The City of Sacramento, specifically District 2, is in full support and extends, our support, and more than happy to step in any way we can. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Seeing no more on there.
Any public comment here? Seeing none. We'll entertain a motion on the item.
Move to adopt resolution and approve the agreement.
Second. All right, we have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Thank you. This is for regular voting members only. Commissioners Arnold,
Yes.
Horowitz,
Yes.
Vice Chair Zuber.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes.
All right, thank you. Item 8 is a presentation for the proposed updated Title VI program.
Yes, good morning, Commissioners. My name is Samara Neal. I'm the Rail Services Supervisor here at the Rail Commission, and I also manage our Title VI compliance program. So for our 2025 plan, I have teamed up with 49 Consulting and then also Community Management to update our plan. So today I have Gary Hewitt, who's going to be alongside Brittany Tran, who's going to be going over some of those updates. And with that said, I'll hand it over to Gary.
Great, thank you. Good morning. Samara said, my name is Gary Hewitt with Transportation Management and Design. And this morning, I'll be providing an overview of the draft Title VI program updates. All right, next slide. So this is the overview of what we're going to be talking about today. All right, next slide. For some background, Title VI of the Civil Rights Act prohibits discrimination in programs and activities that receive federal financial assistance on the basis of race, color, and national origin. It also ensures that individuals are not excluded from participation and that local transit agencies take steps to prevent any discriminatory practices and promote equitable access to their services. So as part of the Title VI requirements, all transit providers must develop and implement a Title VI program, and the program must demonstrate that the transit agency complies with all policies, procedures, and outreach efforts. So transit agencies must submit an updated Title VI program to the FTA every 3 years, and the Rail Commission last submitted an update back in 2022. All right, next slide. This is a breakdown of the program update timeline. We're currently in the public outreach phase that started on March 24th. And today we're presenting the draft program to the Rail Commission. Public outreach will close on April 18th, and any comments we receive, in addition to any potential changes, will be presented to the Commission as a final plan for your consideration at the May 2nd meeting. After approval, the final plan is then submitted to the Federal Transit Administration. Next slide. So here are the key updates as part of this draft Title VI program. We updated some of the service standards and policies. We also updated the language assistance plan and conducted an updated analysis for limited English proficiency populations, utilizing updated census data. We've also developed a new public participation plan and removed some elements from the previous plan that weren't required for smaller agencies operating less than 50 vehicles. Next slide. So a major part of this update includes revised service standards and policies. The service standards and policies were updated based on peer agency comparisons and also current commission practices. It's important to note that the service categories that I'm going to go through here are specifically outlined in the Title VI regulation. The first is vehicle load. For this standard, the current standard only really states that the vehicle load is calculated as the number of peak passengers per train seat. And so as part of this update, we're recommending the standard of no more than 1.2 passengers per seat during peak operations and 1.0 during off-peak operations. So that would mean that there would be a little bit of capacity during the peak service at the highest load point to have some standing passengers. And for the vehicle headway standard, we're recommending establishing a standard time period and direction as seen in this table that reflects the current operations. All right, next slide. The plan will also include a recommended on-time performance standard of 90% And this is based on current performance as well as some of the peers that we've looked at for commuter rail. Similarly, for service availability, we're establishing a 90% standard. What this means is that at least 90% of residents along the ACE rail alignment should be within 5 miles of an ACE rail station. And this will ensure that stations are located in sites that are going to be able to serve most of the population centers along the corridor. All right, next slide. For the distribution of transit amenity standard, we're recommending having a minimum standard for certain types of amenities that the Rail Commission will provide at all stations. And this includes passenger shelters, the information displays, printed schedules, and system maps. For vehicle assignment standard, we're recommending including language about how the Rail Commission will distribute passenger equipment across the current service, but also as future service is added, so that all passenger amenities are similar for all customers. Next slide. This slide is showing the amenities at the different ACE rail stations, and kind of on the right part of the slide, those darker black check marks, those are the stations that are owned and operated by the, excuse me, the ones on the left. The purple are the ones owned and operated by the Rail Commission, and they all have amenities that meet the proposed standard. It's important to note also that on this is that stations that are outside of the agency's control are not required to be part of this particular standard about transit amenities. All right, next slide. So the next area of the plan was the Language Assistance Plan, or LAP. As part of this, the FTA has a 4-factor analysis using census data and GIS to see if there's any limited English proficiency populations in the ACE Rail service area. And from the analysis, we found that 8% of the total population in the service area counties are Spanish speaking and have limited English proficiency. The updated LAP will outline the measures to support these limited English proficiency individuals, including things like bilingual assistance, interpreter services, and translating certain materials. Rail Commission staff will also be trained in language assistance services and provide notice to LEP persons in both oral and written formats. And just as a note, this is similar to the previous plan. So we rerun the analysis. The previous plan also identified Spanish as a language to translate materials into. So nothing really has changed there. The plan also specifies that you will continuously be reviewing and updating as necessary. So we'll come back in 3 years, there may be some changes to the language assistance plan based on any feedback that we've received. All right, next slide. The next area is the public participation plan. So the purpose of the public participation plan is to really inform the public of the Rail Commission's transportation issues and planning process. It establishes a process through which the public can express concerns, desires, and values. It's intended to reach a wide range of customers and increase the participation of underrepresented populations, and to ensure that the Rail Commission's programs, activities reflect the community values. All right, next slide. So in the previous program updates, the public participation plan section really relied on other kind of local agencies like VTA and their public participation plan. So this time we took the time to develop a custom plan for the commission, really based on the other commuter rail agencies and also your current practices. All right, next slide. So in terms of public participation, we created 2 types of changes, major and minor, that would occur to the services. So major changes include things like construction project scoping, fare changes, new service, and a major service change. For minor changes, this would include things like normal service alerts, minor schedule changes by a couple minutes, construction notices, or temporary closures of stations. All right, next slide. And so this matrix really brings together those different change types with different strategies on the left column recommended for each different type of service change. So each strategy, it also includes information on LEP considerations. And this plan recommends additional focus on LEP outreach through things like the mobile app, media relations, onboard information, and having surveys in both English and Spanish. All right, next slide. So as noted earlier, the draft program update has been made available on the Rail Commission's website. So a video presentation, basically these slides that you've looked at today, has been posted in both English and Spanish for people to take a look at, and also a short survey where they could provide feedback in both English and Spanish on the Title VI plan. All right, next slide. And so the Rail Commission staff will be returning in May with the final program for the Commission's consideration. This will include a summary of any feedback that was received and any changes that we're recommending based on this feedback or feedback from the Commission today. And after Commission approval in May, then the plan would be submitted to the Federal Transit Administration in June. So that concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions.
No question, just a comment. I just want to commend staff for this, of someone who is not a native English speaker, and kind of a lot of volatility in the federal government among civil rights protections. The fact that you were committed to services for limited English speakers, it says a lot. I just want to appreciate staff.
I'd just like to concur that it's important that we inform folks and we do a better job. It's like this report's gonna make it so that we do a better job moving forward with schedules, informing folks, multi-languages, and just much improvement as we go into the future. Yeah, thank you.
Any public comment online?
Seeing none online.
Any public comment here? This is information only.
Yes, I would just add, Mr. Vice Chair, that this, when it comes back in May, if all members vote on this item.
All right, thank you. Next item, board member comments. Anybody have anything? None. Ex officios. Let me get my list here. Mayor Wallen.
I have no comments. Thank you. Have a great weekend.
All right, thank you, Mr. Niblock.
Thanks very much, Mr. Chair. Just wanted to report that at the March 27th COG board meeting, the board approved the Measure K strategic plan and directed staff to initiate a process to assess urgent Measure K eligible project needs for COG board informational purposes. So COG staff has reached out to partner agencies such as the Rail Commission to ask them to identify any urgent Measure K needs. And the intent is to collect this information by Friday, April 11th, so that we can share any information provided with the COG board at their April 24th meeting. So we've already heard an initial, or we've had some initial outreach with Rail Commission staff, so we'll anticipate receiving information. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Baxter.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. Ken Baxter, RTD. Just a few items. I'd like to share that today we're having our very first ever Metro Market here at the Downtown Transit Center at 421 East Weber. You're all invited. It's a free event. It starts at 11:30, goes until 4:30. And we're going to have several different vendors, including food vendors there, community resource agencies. We have about 36 vendors lined up. The Rail Commission also has a kiosk here for information about ACE and the San Joaquins, Delta College, Stanislaus State University, and a lot of different health organizations, community-based organizations, etc. So we're very excited about that. They're setting up right now on the tarmac. Secondly, I'd just like to share that RTD sent 2 of our maintenance supervisors back to Washington, D.C., March the 3rd through the 7th to the National Community Transportation Association of America and to participate in the Leadership Academy. And while back there, these 2 members of RTD participated in the legislative fly-in at Capitol Hill, and they were able to meet with a few congressional staff members to share information about public transportation. And then lastly, I'd just like to highlight that RTD as it does annually, celebrated the Transit Driver Appreciation Day on March the 18th. And this is really to recognize and give honor to all of the operators of our system that is so important for the community as well as RTD. And we served at the management level, we served breakfast and lunch. And my job was to cook hash browns, eggs, and sausage. So I'm going to add that to my resume. So but with that, I just want to say thank you to all of you for the service that you provide. It's recognized and it's appreciated. It means a lot to all of us. And I wish everybody a great weekend. And if I can ever be of any service, I'm here to help. So thank you.
All right, thank you. Mr. Dumas.
Just a couple quick points. Last month, the CTC allocated $450,000 to SJCOG to assist in the upgrade of the mechanical and electrical equipment on the Old River Bridge on Highway 4 out near Discovery Bay. And they also allocated a little over $1 million to the COG for Safe Routes to School sidewalk gap closure project out in San Joaquin County. The CTC allocates about $5 billion annually, and this really goes toward helping all the transportation projects in the state and really assist when we have construction projects from the funds that are being available so it can continue on. The California Energy Commission has issued a call for applications under its Vehicle Grid Integration Program. There's about $4 million there. The applications are due June 4th. And it is really to advance and prepare the agencies and for the widespread vehicle grid integration program. They're looking for projects that will help assist in fast charging and also relieve the grid of the extra congestion when everyone tries to charge at the same time. But there's $4 million there if anyone is interested in pursuing that. If you go to the energyca.gov website, you can find more information on it. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is the Executive Director's report. Stacy.
Just next slide, please. One quick item. In light of the fact we've got a couple more things to get through, I wanted to introduce our new Director of Capital Programs, Christine Inouye. She has joined us and this is your third full week or fourth full week. I was on her first week. And so she has taken the helm of the whole capital delivery program of all the consultants and currently 44 projects in 17 different counties and countless cities. And she's got the resume to accomplish that. We're really glad she's joined the team and just wanted you to get a face-to-face because you'll be working with her more as the projects go through their process. So welcome again on your fourth week. That concludes my report.
That's it?
That's it.
All right. And at this point, we will adjourn to closed session. Thank you all for attending and enjoy your weekend.
Vice Chair, I do need to read off the closed session items. People can leave if you don't need to. Since we do have no public here, I will need to read out the titles.
All right.
So we have two closed session items on your agenda, item 12 and item 17.
Sorry, Benjamin.
Item 12, okay. 12 is conference with real conference with negotiators. Return to government closed session 54956.8. The property is located at 623 Blacktop Road in Rio Linda, which is located in Sacramento County. The agency negotiator listed on your agenda is Bill Tanner, Paragon Partners Consultants. For purposes of our closed session today, Nick Mascolino from Berkeley and Sorensen is acting as the agency negotiator for purposes. The negotiating parties for the property owners are limited for range of investments. Utah Limited Liability Company qualified to do business in California, and Carvana Group LLC, a Delaware Limited Liability Company, is also qualified to do business in California. Closed session item number 13 is public employment pursuant to Government Code Section 54957. One position, executive director, unrepresented and an unrepresented employee. Both of these items are for regular voting members. And with that, we will adjourn to closed session.
I'm gonna draw this line.
Yes.
We're pulling real estate attorney.
No, not that we ever have those.
Yeah, it's like.
Or five with me.
Not this last week, because before we started.
I was where we were.
He's online.
Oh, so-
Yes, I got an open session.
He was on.
That's what we do.
I am moving into the board.
So you did have
Nick
about two.
over right now.
I learned my lesson.
Yeah, there is.
Following their
Oh.
direction.
Yeah, Jackie knows.
Okay, then I need to open it back.
I know, of course, you're most, you're still here, you're not.
I will
She's
move
gonna
those
bring you.
She's doing that right now.
Yes. Well,
She's so,
thank you.
she takes on my.
Here it is, join breakout room. Yeah, do you want?
Happens all the time.
At least you all connect yourself
There
into
was
the.
some of the White House involved.
So let's look at COVID.
Oh, I had someone in a towel wrap.
Okay, we're back.
I would say.
I always wear shorts during Zoom meetings.
So don't get up.
We are not. Yes.
Okay, we are back in COVID.
Oh, I'm
That's the show face.
I don't really want to show.
Wait, I don't know that it. There we go.
Okay, we have returned from closed session, item 12, which were conference with real negotiators. That item was discussion, direction given by the commission to staff, and no other reportable action at this time. Up to item number. Number 13, that item was public employment. That item was a discussion item, direction given to staff, and no other reportable action at this time. And with that, my report is concluded, and Vice Chair Zoll, you may adjourn the meeting.
We're adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The only time I use that.
That's getting a tacky college order. That's what.